Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Paul Schwartz, your host tonight on Varsity Aces Live. Thanks for coming. Tonight we have a very special show involving track. It's the first state group track meet in 2 years. This weekend at 3 sites in New Jersey, and we have 2 special teams, coaches and guests tonight. Our second group will be the Passaic Tech boys, who won their first sectional championship since 1990. We have 2 of their fine members on, but first I want to bring in the Rutherford girls team, which won their first sectional title since 1985. And we have joining us tonight Curtis Arce, the coach of the team, and 2 of their senior members, Bella Singh and Ava Scheib. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome.
How you doing, Paul? Thanks for having us.
Doing good. How are you guys doing?
Hi.
Okay.
Good. How are you?
Good. So first, let me start with you, Curtis. You took over the program 5 years ago. You expected to have a team to take a shot at this last year with Jenna Rogers, who's now at the University of Nebraska, and some other really fine kids who graduated. COVID hit. The season went away. What was your thoughts coming into this season as to whether you could end that long drought?
Well, coming into the season, I knew that we had a good core coming back. Aside from, Jenna and the seniors that we lost, we had a couple, very good seniors last year, besides Jenna. But the junior class, the seniors now you're seeing, and the juniors now, when they were freshmen and sophomores, they came in right out of the gate, varsity athletes. So we knew that we had good experience, even though, they had the experience as freshmen and sophomore. They had varsity experience for an entire season. So we knew we had a good nucleus. We just needed to, fill some pieces that we were missing, not only from seniors that left from last year that didn't get a chance to contribute, but also there was a couple other girls that we expected to come out this year that unfortunately didn't, which we had to fill those holes, which we were able to, myself and my coaching staff, which did a great job to fill a couple holes in things like the pole vault, and have a couple other younger athletes, freshmen and sophomores, step up and really help us out.
And Ava, let me ask you first, what were your thoughts? What did you think the team would be able to accomplish this year, and how the season has gone for your team?
I mean, coming into the season, I wasn't really sure what to expect. I mean, I wasn't too worried. I knew that our team was very solid, and that I knew that we also had lost a lot of girls last year, but I was also really excited for the season and what we could do. Also, having lost a whole season last year, I was just looking forward to having any type of season this year.
Was there any adjustment on your part to getting back into the regular day-to-day routine of practice and dealing with multiple events?
Yeah, I mean, it definitely took some time, and I think I'm even still working on it for losing an entire season. Everyone and the shape that they were in and how we were performing, we had to work, I think, 100 times harder to get to where we were.
And Bella, in your situation, you are now going to be in a situation where you're going to be required to sort of take the place of Jenna. In that, I mean, you're going to be the go-to girl. Did we lose Bella? Hopefully we'll get her back. So I'll stay with you, Ava. You made some adjustments this year. You used to run the intermediate hurdles. For whatever reason, you had some difficulties early in the year, and you switched to some other events. What were you able to do to get yourself back to where you were on that team and you were anchoring that mile relay that basically put you in position to win the sectional title this year?
I mean, besides the physical aspect, I think it was more like a mental challenge that I had to overcome. And during that event specifically, I was talking to the coaches, and I was having trouble earlier on in the meet with long jump. And then Coach Arce talked to me, and he was telling me asking me, he actually asked me what are friends for? And he was yeah, they're, and I said, they're there to support you. And he was well, that's what they're going to do in these relays. And that gave me a sigh of relief, and I knew that it would work out, and it got me more excited also for the event.
And Bella, I was asking you were put in a position this year where you were going to be the girl that was going to get a lot of points at every meet. You were going to do your 4 events, and you were sort of in the Jenna Rogers role this year. Was that hard for you to adjust to taking on that extra responsibility? But you handled it beautifully. How did that happen?
At first, it's been just like weird and like just definitely something I had to get used to. But like I feel like where I am right now, I'm fitting perfectly. Like, and I just feel like I feel like I'm just like in the best position that I can be right now, and like I'm proud, I guess, of like how I've stepped up this year.
Now, how important was breaking that school record in the long jump early in the year to your confidence and your ability to take on the challenges of the late season?
Well, it was very important to me because after I got the indoor long jump, I knew that the record that I got for it is not even like as far as the outdoor record. So it was more of a challenge. So I wanted to just see like if I could do the extra step. And I always said like, oh, I'm going to jump 18, but more like I never thought that it was going to be like realistic to be jumping 18, but now I'm doing it.
Now, Curtis, Bella not only won the long jump, but she took second in the highs, second in the intermediate, second in the highs, and second in the 200. Did you foresee this kind of a breakout season for her in all four events?
For sure. Maybe not the 200, but as far as hurdle goes, I mean, she's strong, she's athletic. She has the mental fortitude to really take on any event that she really wants to. She's a great hurdler, so I knew the 400 hurdles was not going to be an issue. She came in, she's been a polished 100 hurdler basically since she was a freshman, and the long jump just comes natural to her. The 200 was it's really not a race. I tell her all the time, it's not her race. But what she's able to do and what she was able to do this year in the 200 is part of the reason why we've had the success we've had. I mean, I watched her 200 from a distance at the sectionals, and me and the other coach, from the distance we were at, we thought she took fourth. And then we look at the results, and not only did she take second, but she PR'd by about half a second, and that's with no block. So what she was able to do in the 200 this year is probably the most impressive thing I've seen.
Now, let's talk a little bit about that Saturday or that weekend. Clearly, there was a significant weather delay Friday night across the state. It led, in your case, to certain events being pushed to Saturday, which sort of played a little havoc with your plans. And it's my understanding that you realized that you guys could contend for the sectionals, but you weren't so quick to let the rest of your athletes know that. Tell us something about what went on that weekend.
Well, so prior to the meet, I always do our sectional rankings. I kind of always let the kids know where they're at in the meet, if they have a chance to break in, what are their chances to really move on, stuff like that. And I still did that same thing. I told the kids where they stood in all their events. The only thing I just left out is that, if they start adding up who's going to qualify to move on and what they place, that they have a chance to win the meet. So I've talked about it. I mentioned it to my assistant coaches, and they're like, let's just not tell them. Let's just have them go out, have fun, do what they've been doing with no strings attached. And then at the end of the meet, on halfway through Saturday, maybe they'll figure it out. But once that rain delay came through, you spend 2 hours in the bubble. There's a lot of distractions in there. It was kind of crazy in there, to be honest. The vibe towards the end of the night, when it's 7 o'clock at night and you're not even close to leaving, it's kind of like, why are we here? It's kind of, the vibe gets a little down. So, I looked at my assistant coaches and I was like, I think I have to tell them, because we're in first place at this point, by a pretty good margin. I just wanted them to make sure that they knew that when they wake up in the morning, there's something to look forward to at the end of the day, not just run your races and go home. Did it work? I mean, we won, so I think it did.
Well, let me ask David, did it work? Did you not have any idea before he told you that you were in contention to win?
Yeah, I 100% thought it worked. I honestly had no idea where we stood before going into our Friday meet. And then when he took us off the bus and was talking to us, we all were looking around and we were like, wow, this is real. We could really win. And then going into the meet on Saturday, I think everyone's mindset was in it to win it. I think everyone was determined to win.
All right. Now, he also sent you away, Bella, from the discus throw because of the delays instead of the 4x4 and your great win in the 4x4 clinching the championship, you still had to sweat out the discus throw. He sent you guys away. What were you guys talking about while they were sitting through the last Bruce Flowers?
We were all just like really nervous that because it was just there was a lot on the line, and we knew that, like, me and Ava, at least, we knew it was like really our last chance to like win sectionals. So I was just
Whoops, we lost her again. So I'll go back to you, Ava. When Coach walked over after the discus, did you know immediately what he was going to tell you? What did he have a poker face, or what was his reaction?
Yeah, at first I had no idea. Like when we were watching discus, like before we were told to go back to our tent, I had no idea whether we were going to win or not. Like Harmony was, I give her so much credit because we were all watching her. She might have been really nervous, but I think she was doing great. And then all the coaches were just like standing there watching Harmony. I could not tell by their faces. But then afterwards, when the coaches pulled me and Bella aside, like I knew. He was like, he asked us if we wanted to tell the team or if he wanted to.
Was that a tough decision as to who was going to tell the team?
No, not at all. We just ran away and went and tell them.
Did you run faster getting to the team than you had even in your great performances in the meet?
Probably.
They moved all weekend.
All right, so now we're turning to this weekend in Franklin. What are your hopes? We're in the last question. What are your hopes as far as what you can do this week? I'll start with you, Bella, and then I'll finish up with Curtis. What are your hopes for the weekend?
Well, for the 400 hurdles, I mostly just really want a PR because I don't know. I think it's probably gonna be the last time I do it. Okay. So I want to do as best as I can PR. For 100 hurdles, I would like to go to state meet champs, but I don't know. But I want to do well in that, obviously. I really hope our 4x4, if I'm in it, breaks the school record. And I hope I win long jump, honestly.
Okay, and Curtis, any last words?
No, as long as they continue to, build and improve and we do what they're supposed to do, I think everything else will work itself out. And hopefully we can get multiple athletes to the state meet of champs. Great.
Thanks, guys. Best of wishes. I'll be following you. I hope to see all of you at the meet of champs on the 19th. And thanks for joining us. And now I want to bring in.
Thank you.
You're welcome, guys. I want to bring in now the Passaic Tech boys who similarly broke a long drought in the boys Group 4 state sectionals over at Clifton. They did a phenomenal job. And we have with us head coach Jeff Cioletti, himself a former star hurdler at Wayne Hills, and two of his stars, Jordan Ricketts and Keyshawn Holt, who are not only teammates, but they're also rivals in a couple of events. Hi, guys.
Hi.
Hello. Thanks for having us, Paul.
Well, first of all, congratulations to you guys for breaking a long drought. Jeff, how important was it to you guys to win this sectional meet and to win a sectional meet?
To me, it was very important. That's our goal every year. Is to do that. We have 3 goals: win the league, win the county, and win the state. And I feel like, and we all felt like last year we climbed that ladder and we just didn't get the chance. So this year we just didn't want to let the chance slip through our fingers. So, I mean, I'm kind of the opposite of the Rutherford coach. Like I told them in the winter, you guys can win a section in the spring. So we need everyone to step up. Everyone's got to do what they got to do, and we'll see what happens. But that's something I coach all the time. Don't don't be satisfied of being the Passaic County champ. You don't get distracted. Don't be satisfied. Keep going. I want you to be the best kid in the state. I want you to want to be the best kid in the state, and that's what we preach, and that's how we train. That's how we do everything.
And Jordan and Keyshawn, you both had great winters in 2020, especially in the quarter mile. You really, both of you had breakout winters, and then you get shut down. And then you come back in an abbreviated winter where it's a polar bear thing, it's outdoors, but it's giving you a feel for what you might be able to do. And both of you performed very well in those meets. Starting with Jordan first, what were your expectations for this spring when it finally came to pass that we were going to have a full year?
I mean, I personally had high expectations. I know me and Keyshawn both practiced and worked really hard. So for myself, I knew I wanted to make sure that I PR'd. I had big benchmarks and nice stepping stones that I wanted to hit. And I just wanted to make sure that I made this last one count.
And Keyshawn, what about you?
Honestly, after coming into winter and then going into spring, me and Jordan both had clear views of what we wanted to do and how we were planning on making state champs become a reality instead of just a dream.
And you and we talked about this early on. I mentioned it early on. Your teammates and your rivals. Obviously, Jordan, you do the 2, the 4, the intermediate hurdles, and the relay. Keyshawn, you've been doing the 1, 2, 4 long jump, but a little birdie tells me you're going to be back on that relay team this weekend. But one of my highlights of the year was at your league meet at Clifton, where you guys were getting ready to run the 400, and there was some talking going on. Keyshawn, tell me about that. Tell me about your relationship with Jordan, how far it gets back, and what that's all about.
So it starts back to when I came to track my sophomore year. I started running off 400s. It wasn't like the best, but I came with a good 400 time, and then that's when I met Jordan because he was one of the best 400 runners there. And then ever since then, me and him both have competitive spirits. So it was just us knocking heads every time. So we knew when it came to that race, we was like, all right, I'm not going to go easy. You're not going to go easy. So we knew at the end, it was a matter of finishing, like who could finish stronger.
And Jordan, what was said after you guys finished that race at leagues where you embraced, and it was pretty cool to watch?
I don't even believe there was anything said. It was just straight silence, writhing in pain.
And while I'm watching you warming up, I see Hensley Jean-Baptiste in the corner. He's your third quarter mile, who's not bad himself. And the three of you each ran personal bests on Saturday in the 400. And unfortunately, you went 2:34 because the kid from Montclair ran the fastest time in the state this year. What does being in around those fast kids and knowing that you're right there with those fast kids, what does that do for you, Jordan, moving into this state meet this weekend in Franklin?
It only gives me more fuel. I've actually known him since freshman year. I've been doing my research, and I've always wanted to race him on an equal playing field. I think now's the time, and I'm right here. So I can't wait to race him again.
And we're talking about Jesse Legister of Montclair. And Keyshawn, you're comparatively new to the sport compared to Jordan. What's your assessment of how this entire year has gone and how you guys have developed as a team, but certainly as individual sprinters yourself?
As a team, over the years, I feel like we've collectively become better and stronger as a team, but individually, me and Jordan both have had extraordinary seasons, both winter of last year and this year.
Jeff, let me come to you. Obviously, you've been the coach there a long time. What is it, 13 years as head coach or more?
Well, I was the girls coach for a while, so yeah, I think it's 13 years.
Yeah. And of course, every team has a different personality, but something about this team from the first time I got to see them at the Mustang Relays, which was the unofficial Passaic Relays, there seems to be a different vibe on this team. Is there?
Yes. I mean, I think it's the way I'm always the same way. Everything to me is about relationships. Like Jordan and Keyshawn are as good as they are because of the relationship they have with each other, and we've had that in our program before with other kids. Kevin Copper and Yasir Thomas were the same way. They were in
Right.
similar events, and they competed against each other and they made each other better. I think that's what they do for each other. They also they're like, you know, they're their biggest each other's fans. You know, like Keyshawn is a huge fan of Jordan. Jordan's a big fan of Keyshawn. But if Keyshawn beats Jordan in a sprint in practice, he's going to throw something at him. You know, but I think that's how I am, and I think that's how the team gets. They realize that building relationships, and it makes everything easier. It's easier to run a speed endurance workout when you know the other people behind you are doing it just as hard or are willing to, I always joke with the kids. I said, when you're doing this, when you run the 4 or the 8 and you're running your speed endurance work, you need to be willing to die. And that's something we like jokingly say to each other at practice. And that's how they train. That's how they run. And that's how they do everything. I mean, whether my relationship with them instilled that in them or the relationship they have with each other instilled that in them, it doesn't matter. But I have a different relationship with Jordan than I do with Keyshawn, but I view them both as like sons I never had. I love both these kids. I spend a lot of time with them, more than I do with my own family, and it's worth every minute of it. I mean, even if we didn't win, it still would be worth every minute. I'm helping these guys become young men into what they've become now. I'm just extremely proud of them. Not even just their accomplishments on the track. It's how they've become. I mean, it was hard to talk to Keyshawn when he was a freshman and a sophomore. His brain was all over the place all the time. And now I can talk to him. He's a great young man. I mean, Jordan was always a little bit more. He wanted track the second he walked in the door. I knew he was different the first time. I remember watching him run in one of our winter meets. I looked at one of the other coaches. I said, "This kid is going to be a stud." I go, and he's got the right attitude and he wants it. And then Jordan was really a key piece on our team the past couple of years because kids like Keyshawn that might have came onto the team late, Jordan took them and got them excited, built a relationship with them, and created this atmosphere we have around our team where it's like they know they have to work hard. They know there's no other way to do it but the way we do it. And they bought into our system. They bought into our program. And it's great kids. They'll buy into your system. But the kids that are even greater than that, they buy into your system and your program and they build it up. And that's what these two guys have done. Like everyone in practice is chasing them. Everyone is looking at them, asking them how to do, and they're more than willing to teach and help any kid. It's like I feel like we have a great atmosphere, even like a family type atmosphere at practice. Even my coaching staff, me and Coach Turkmanian are like, it's almost like we're the mom and the dad of everything going on. Like if I don't give the right answer, they'll go to Coach T and ask her and ask her for something, or vice versa. So like I said, I'm just extremely proud of the young men that they've become.
Now, what's interesting about track and field, it's an individual sport where you add up your scores in each event, except for the relays, to get a score. But while Keyshawn and Jordan, you're going at it in a 2 and 4 against each other. You're together in the relay, and then you each have your specialty. Jordan, it's obviously the intermediate hurdles. Keyshawn, it's obviously the 100-meter dash. When you're running your individual event where the other one is not there, and I'll start with you, Keyshawn, do you give particular emphasis to that event because you're basically carrying PCTI's banners in that event?
Honestly, I do think I am because Jordan knows how competitive I am. So when I line up on that line, I just give Jordan that look and he gives it back. And it's like, I know what I got to do to help the team win.
And Jordan, you're in what a lot of people consider the hardest event in high school track and field, the 400 hurdles. And you've really had so far a terrific season in that. But you've got to focus on the hurdles, I assume, and you can't worry about the outside things that are going on. What do you do specifically in the hurdles to keep yourself focused and ready to attack?
Well, I think it's of that first hurdle because I know once I'm on that line, nothing else matters but me and my performance. It's not about anyone cheering or watching or hoping anything differently. Even if people anticipate me winning, I know that if I don't actually go out, execute, and do it, it won't happen. So all I have to do is just focus on it, and then everything connects right after. 1 goes to 2, 2 to 3, and on.
So let me wrap up with a question to each of the three of you. Let me start with you, Jordan. Now we go to states at Franklin Friday and Saturday. The competition gets stiffer. You guys are very well seated in all of your events. What's your focus? What's your goal for this weekend in Franklin?
I personally, well, in my personal and in the relays, I want to take home each school record and improve on my own. I want 52, if not 53 and 400 hurdles. I want to touch 47 in the open 4, and then we want to go sub 320 in the relay.
And Keyshawn, I turn to you. It looks like the long jump is out of the picture, but that means you're going to run 4 times. What would you like to see happen this weekend?
I am ready to go low 21 in a 200 and break another 2 school records in the 1 and the 2 once again.
And Jeff, again, we talked briefly about it. You've got one of the best relay teams in the state. If everything breaks your way and the kids perform, and maybe you steal a point in the weights from Jose Gomez, who's had a terrific year for you too, can your team win the state championship?
I do think that there's a chance, because I remember when I was a kid looking at the scores that would win that meet, and like we talked about before, a lot of times it was like 30-something points, and someone would win the meet, and I would always look at my coach from Wayne Hills and be like, really? And he'd be like, you're not going to have a whole, you're not going to have 10 kids place here and score 80 points. It's not going to happen. So that's why that happens. And then, I mean, the first time I qualified, I remember just going to that meet and just being in awe of just watching everybody run. It was unbelievable. So to be in this position and have a chance to win it, to be up there and maybe have it come down to the 4x4 we've been working on for years, to change the atmosphere around the team with that. I mean, I can remember years ago asking kids to run a 4x4, looking around, and kids are running away. Now I have kids fighting each other to get on the relay. I mean, I had to have kids race this week to see who was coming out of the relay, because it's track. It's the fairest way to do it. So I had some kids race, and that's what it is. I said you can't be hurt about it. You just got to move on. And if you don't like it, and I always say, kids, get better.
Well, they got to be ready. That 5th kid's got to get ready, because that's a long 2 days, and that 5th kid's got to get ready if, God forbid, there's a last-minute need. Guys, Keyshawn, Jordan, Coach Khaled, Jeff, thanks for being with us. Thank you to the Rutherford people for being with us. I wish you all, and I think North Jersey is wishing you all the best of luck this weekend in your quest, and I hope to see you all at the State Meet of Champions. And thanks for coming. And this is Paul Schwartz, and you've been watching Varsity Aces Live. It's a big weekend in track and field, baseball, softball, lacrosse. It's supposed to be a nice weekend, not as hot as last weekend. Get out and see a game. You'll enjoy it. Thanks for being with us.